Hey there, and welcome to the Women Aging Powerfully podcast. I'm your host, Leah Bachani, certified menopause specialist and nutrition coach. Each week, I chat with top experts on nutrition, fitness, hormones, sleep, fat loss, and other crucial menopausal topics your doctor might be skipping over. We simplify complex science into actionable steps for your daily life, empowering you to tackle menopausal symptoms, weight challenges, and boost your overall health. We are not about aging gracefully. We're about aging powerfully. So grab your headphones, turn up the volume, and dive into this episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm really excited to share today's conversation because it completely shifted how I think about skin health, and I have a feeling it's going to do the same for you. So today I'm chatting with Rachel Varga, who is a double board certified aesthetic nurse specialist with over 13 years of experience in medical aesthetics. And what makes Rachel so unique is that she's actually performed over 20,000 rejuvenation procedures, and she's also one of the first practitioners to blend the traditional Western skincare approaches with functional insights and biohacking strategies. She hosts the School of Radiance podcast, which is really amazing. And she's also published multiple research articles on skin health transformation. Basically, she knows her stuff inside and out. But here's what I love most about this conversation. Rachel doesn't just focus on what you put on your skin. We dive deep into how everything from your environment to your emotions shows up on your face. We're talking about oxidative stress, electromagnetic frequencies, the power of grounding, water quality, and so much more. And speaking of detective work, I have actually a quick personal update to share with you that's specific to this podcast episode. So after our conversation, after we recorded this podcast, I dove into doing some very careful investigation with AI, and I finally figured out what was causing some irritation around my eyes. So spoiler alert, you're going to see, especially if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see I have major inflammation, puffiness, and redness around my eyes. And I show you, it was devastating to me because everyone sees your eyes first, and I was very sensitive about it. Well, speaking of sensitivity, turns out I am sensitive to argireline. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's also known as acetylhexapeptide 8, and it was in 2 of my anti-aging eye creams. So just FYI, sometimes, you're reacting to something and you don't know what it is. And I finally figured it out, and it was like a hallelujah moment. And while it was super helpful to finally solve that mystery, and now I know exactly what to avoid, Rachel's advice in this episode is incredibly valuable for anyone dealing with inflammation, reactions, or basically any skin irritation. So if you are struggling with stubborn skin issues like I was, or maybe you just want to understand the deeper connection between your lifestyle and your skin health, this conversation is packed with insights that you can actually use. Rachel breaks down really complex concepts in such like a tangible, accessible way. You're going to walk away with practical tips that don't require completely overhauling your life. All right, let's dive in. All right, Rachel, I am so glad you're here. Welcome.
So great to be here with you and everyone tuning in. We're going to share some insightful insights to help you become a little bit more discerning on some things that your skin might be telling you.
And how perfect is it that you're my guest today, Rachel? Because for those of you that are just listening, I encourage you to jump over to YouTube, because what I'm about to show you is, well, it's kind of embarrassing for me, but I do this for you guys because I love you. And I know that some of you might be struggling. I by no means am perfect. In fact, I have a lot of issues, but today we're going to talk about one of them, and Rachel is the perfect guest to have on to talk about this. So I'm going to take my glasses off. I'm going to show you. And for those of you that are just listening, Rachel, maybe you can describe what's going on because you're the expert.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, I wrote a research paper on oxidative stress status and its impacts on skin aging and what we need to notice even before doing rejuvenation. So as soon as we got on camera, I said, Leah, what's going on? How's things?
So you can see.
And Leah started to, there's some redness and inflammation to her eyelids. That's relatively pronounced. So I started to ask some questions. Leah, how's the weather where you are? And Leah says, oh, it's really hot. We just turned the AC on. It's not working properly. It's shuttling air in from the duct. And I was like, man, my first question before that was, when did you recently change your HVAC filters? Because right away I saw your eyes and thought, okay, there's something in your environment. We just shifted seasons. And what I see in you, Leah, is what I see in my patients and have seen over the years, especially with changes of season, with the eyes sometimes getting a little bit more red and puffy. It's
Yeah.
simply a sign of oxidative stress status. So the inner landscape is a little bit inflamed. And what happens is, I've even had it where I was exposed to a lot of pollen. And
Mm.
then that night I had what you're experiencing. So pollen, toxins, EMFs, we'll talk all about these things. I think that well, first of all, I want to say, Leah, you're very brave, because showing everybody what this looks like is you being vulnerable, and we all go through things. So for those watching, like, this is what the body tells us when the oxidative stress bucket is full and it's tipped over, and what we can do about it.
Yeah, yes, it is embarrassing. Also, I'm wearing no makeup, so that's a first. I've never shown up with no makeup on. It's a little bit disarming, but I feel safe with you, Rachel, because you see past all that too. You see inside of people, and I actually love that, and I want to kind of promote that with women, woman to woman. Like, we all are so worried about what we look like and how we present, which is important. I'm not trying to say it's not important, but we all have days like this too where we're dealing with stuff, and for some people it shows up in your eyes, right? And other people it might show up somewhere else. Like, we all have these kind of trigger areas. But back to my problem. No, I'm kidding. I love what you said before we started recording, that your eyes are kind of, what did you say, the window to what's going on inside?
Yeah, the inner landscape, we often think the window to the soul, which, yes, when we're communicating, we can see signs of nervous system dysregulation, presence, when presence equals love, by the way. Also, when there's signs of redness and inflammation and puffiness, it's typically the inner landscape is inflamed and there's been a trigger. And the way my skin talks to me, when I get skin issues, it's going to be back breakouts to my jawline, or one summer I was exposed to tremendous amount of forest fire smoke, and also home renovations, and just like huge shifts in my life. That silver platter was handed to me because I asked for it and was doing the work, but I needed to make space. So I was in a big transition period, and then had irritation, the skin on my neck, which is around the clavicular lymph nodes, or breakouts to the jawline. And we have lots of um, lymph nodes again underneath our jawline too.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So skin is your specialty, right? Like, what can what can we do based on the knowledge that our skin gives us? Like, how do you translate that into, okay, for example, Leah is having this issue. How does that translate into what you tell your clients or your patients to do?
Yeah, well, I've seen this many times over the years, especially around changes of season, because the body's just adjusting to different temperatures. It's adjusting to AC and maybe some dust and debris and mold that's in the vents, adjusting to more pollen. And even just life adjustments in general, going through pre-perimenopause, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, all these things. Stuff happens. Stress is a sign of being
Oh, I
alive.
don't have any stress.
We
Just
all do
kidding.
we all do to some degree. And actually, those cortisol spikes that happen throughout the day or when you're lifting heavy is
Yeah.
to get energy to your muscles and your brain. So when you're in that slightly elevated cortisol sympathetic state, what do you want to do? You want to drop down into parasympathetic state through box breathing. And then in your case, Leah, and for what I did to overcome this rash, it was red, it was flaky, it was irritated. It's not great for people like Leah and I, who, what we do for work is to show up and present. And, here we are being vulnerable. We're just like you. We're all humans. And there's some really great things that we can do about and that I've substantiated and compiled together in a research paper. So for those of you who might not know who I am, I'm an aesthetic nurse since 2011, and then have also gotten my board certification as a certified aesthetic nurse and teach other doctors and nurses how to do rejuvenation. And then I got into the biohacking world, started to do all the oxidative stress status reduction things, which we're going to focus on today, of course. Super beneficial for everybody. And then I noticed, hey, I don't need to do as many in-clinic rejuvenation things. And I look better, I feel better, I'm putting more muscle on. Life is better, right? That radiance comes from being as pure as possible from both a spiritual energetic perspective, bioenergetic perspective, essentially, and also from the very physical, physiological oxidative stress status inflammation perspective, too.
Well, you're definitely a walking billboard for what you're studying and using and recommending. So, yeah, let's dive into some specifics. I mean, where do you want to start with this?
Let's start with the framework that I
Uh,
put together about a year and a half ago because I feel like in this health and wellness and optimization and biohacking space, it's always starting with the red light therapy. Whenever I do a one-on-one consult, my clients are always proud. They're like, oh, I do red light. I'm a biohacker. And it's like, well, actually, that's something I recommend you do after and you purify your environment first. That's what biohacking is, the art and science of modulating our environment to support our biology. So I took that, and Dave Asprey's a good longtime friend of mine too. So I got some insider insights there. But what can we do in the home to benefit ourselves, our family, our legacy,
Mhm.
allow us to live our purpose, which is really key in all this too. And it starts with things you're exposed to every day. Air, which your case is, water, lighting, EMFs, which we're going to do. I'm going to point some things out, Leah, that
Yep.
for those of you
I'm here
tuning
for
in,
all of it. You can totally rip me apart here, Rachel.
we'll also check the language. We're not going to rip you apart. You're not having problems. Okay.
I think I'm in a desperate sense where I'm like, yes, please take everything.
Yeah. And when we're going through things, it's always maintaining these positive emotional thoughts, right? So I
Yeah.
don't say my acne or my neck rash or my car crash injuries. Just say, I'm kind of experiencing some things and here's some things that we can do about it. So keeping that positive, constructive approach is really healthy. So you don't get stuck in these loops,
I love
right?
that reminder. Thank you for that.
Totally, especially with those dealing with chronic things like chronic pain
Yeah.
or autoimmune diseases and things like that. So we got air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, your foods that you're eating,
Hmm.
and then also things to detox, such as yeast, fungi, mold, heavy metals, and parasites. So that's what we want to start with, purifying our environment, sometimes with some technology and things that we have to buy. There's a lot of free stuff too, which we'll talk about. And doing that before investing in the red light therapy, the brain tap, the sauna, the Lila quantum block. I have so much,
But
the
those are all the
creatine, all this
fun
stuff.
things, Rachel.
I know, but it's the simplest things that are done daily. It's the persistence and the discipline that leads to progress, like working out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Those daily things can move the needle so much. And when it becomes a habit, it's kind of funny actually, because I didn't notice for a long time that I was just feeling so much better because the changes were small and incremental, but they kept building and building and building. And then all of a sudden, when I looked back over, I don't know, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, I was like, wow, like the needle's moved a lot. But when you're living and breathing and experiencing it daily, sometimes you don't actually notice it. Sometimes you don't give yourself enough credit until someone points out, like, wow, you look radiant or something, or you're just different, Anyways, I'm getting us off on a tangent, but
No, that's honestly a perfect tangent because what I'm here to talk about, like my purpose, is how can we both look and feel our best and make an impact? And that's through radiance. It's not just through your skincare and makeup and doing rejuvenation. It's really just optimizing your entire body, mind, spirit energy so that you emit this beautiful field, which is the 10th body in Ayurveda called a radiance, which is really what I study and talk about in the deeper sense of it. But when you do the air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, eat the right foods, then detox. Now wouldn't be the time for you to detox, Leah, because your oxidative stress status is full. The bucket's full. You want to look at maybe some antioxidants to help to pull out the oxidative stressors in the toxic bucket. So now would not be the time to say jump in the sauna or do some detoxing. You want to just load up with the antioxidants first,
Yeah.
like zinc, NAC, quercetin, green tea extract. You also have my carbon 60 serum, which is a stellar serum on the skin that
Which,
I've
by the way,
created.
I didn't know you could take it internally. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I can't publicly say take this
Oh,
product internally.
okay.
What
We're
I
not
will
saying to
say
take this internally. However, I may have put it under my tongue.
that actually I used my copper peptide and my carbon 60 and also the recovery gel that I created to get rid of the rash that I had on my neck in a week. And then the carbon 60, I really like it on the skin. And carbon 60 is also utilized underneath the tongue, sublingually. And through some of the research, it's been shown to be about 200 times, or actually, I think it's 125% is what's in the published research data of carbon 60 being a more potent antioxidant than vitamin C is.
Wow. Okay. So we've got the quercetin, the vitamin C, the NAC, vitamin C,
Zinc,
zinc,
green tea
green tea
extract.
extract. Now,
Yeah.
let's back up for 1 second. Green tea extract. Is that the same as drinking a cup of green tea? Ladies, can we talk about something that's been driving me absolutely crazy? You're out there trying to do everything right for your health, eating well, exercising, prioritizing self care, but then you walk into a supplement store or scroll through Amazon and it's completely overwhelming. Which brands can you actually trust? Are you getting what's on the label? And why does quality seem to cost a fortune? I've been there, standing in those supplement aisles, feeling frustrated and confused, and that's exactly why I'm so excited to share something that's been a total game changer for me and my community. I've partnered with FullScript to create an exclusive online dispensary just for our Women Aging Powerfully community. This is not just another supplement store. This is access to the same professional grade supplements that practitioners like me use in our clinics. We're talking about brands that have been rigorously tested, vetted, and proven effective. Here's what makes this so special. Every single product in my dispensary has been handpicked specifically for women who are committed to aging powerfully. No more guessing. No more wondering if you're wasting your money on supplements that might not even contain what's promised on the bottle. And because you're part of this incredible community, you get an exclusive 15% discount on everything, making these premium supplements more affordable than most of what you'd find at regular retail stores. Setting up your free account takes less than 2 minutes, and your supplements ship directly to your door. It's that simple. You deserve to feel confident about what you're putting in your body. You deserve supplements that actually work and support your journey to age powerfully. Ready to take the guesswork out of your supplement routine? Head to the link in the show notes and create your free FullScript account today. Your future self will thank you. Now let's get back to today's empowering conversation.
I can't speak to that, especially if that tea is in a tea bag that's been bleached.
Oh,
But there was a formulation that I was taking a long time ago. And can I say a brand name?
of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, it was the Metagenics Immune
Mm,
Active.
okay.
And I took that and had some family members taking it, and they were taking it around the springtime. And one of them said to me, I didn't have any seasonal allergies this spring.
Wow.
So the
That's
other thing that I did was there's also the anti-aging dermal formula that's on my Skin Shop. That's got your antioxidants, superoxide dismutase, got some omegas in it. And once I started to take more antioxidants and omegas and reduce that oxidative
mhm.
stress impact in my environment, air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, foods, and then do the detox, I can be outside for most of the day and actually not burn anymore. When previous to that, when my bucket was a little full, I'd burn in like 10 minutes in Canada.
Wow. That's hard to do.
Yeah. So that really showed me firsthand as, here I am, a provider
Yeah.
in the skin space, just how key it is to keep that internal landscape as empty as possible so that when we are exposed to something in our HVAC, when we turn that AC on, or the pollen around change of season, or just, stressed around people, places, things, situations, or environmental stressors, as I've mentioned a couple times now, we can be more resilient. So when something enters this bucket, it's not going to tip it over. And then we get the a presentation of the redness and puffiness to the eyes. This bucket is pretty empty to start with. So if something gets added to it and you're consuming things like antioxidants, that you can be more resilient and handle things when they arise. But you will still feel the difference when you are dialed in, when you go out at a restaurant and you get exposed to some seed oils that you don't typically have, or you're in a home or a restaurant bathroom and there's mold, or in a hotel room and you can have the presentation like Leah. um, this is like really great to talk about because I'd say pretty much everybody is going to experience something like this at some point in their life. Either they'll see it or they'll feel it, feeling stiff, feeling sore, not sleeping great. But what you said earlier was actually really profound, and I want to repeat it. Because when you're doing all these things, you're going to have a 1 to 2% increase here, 1 to 2% increase here, 1 to 2 to, maybe get a 20-30% increase in benefit in the way that you sleep, which you can actually track. So anything you do should be able to be noticed in your sleep scores if it's working for you.
Are you referring to the Aura Ring?
Yes, I see you wearing the Oura Ring and the smartwatch.
Guilty.
There is one thing I'll share with women who I've worked with thousands of women over the years since 2011, both in person and online through video consults like this. No matter where you are, I can tell you what to do at home, where to go in the clinics, and give you some direction that way to save you a lot of time and money. Typically, when I connect with a lady who's wearing a smartwatch, I say this out of love, Leah, and for all of you listening, typically women who wear smartwatches are more in that sympathetic, higher cortisol, stressed state and nervous system dysregulation.
Okay, I don't want that. I'm
Yeah,
taking this.
shake it off. You don't need a smartwatch.
I don't need any more of being in the sympathetic state.
We don't need to feel like our brain's at a casino all day long getting these dopamine hits. Oh, something really urgent. Relationally, what this does when you're speaking with someone and they get a ding on their smartwatch.
Oh, you're right. I hate that.
Totally.
Oh
What
my God.
happens is it pulls who's wearing the smartwatch out of present moment awareness, out of that presence, which equals love. Something else is more important than who I'm talking to. Dopamine, sympathetic state, adrenaline, cortisol. That's why wearing smartwatches, I think, are one of the worst things you could do. It's like the convenience is killing us these days.
Yeah. I
And
could
you
not
don't
agree
want to have
more.
EMFs or Bluetooth on your body. It's actually distance is your friend with these things. So it's not only the like your brain's in a casino getting an alert, but it's also that EMF, electromagnetic field, and Bluetooth, which disrupts our blood and nervous system. We know this. It's also on your TCM pulse point for your heart point.
That doesn't sound good.
No.
Okay. I think that maybe I will not wear that anymore. You also mentioned, though, putting this Aura Ring, which I love the Aura Ring. I love the feedback it gives me, and it actually helps me. It's one of the things that actually helps me recognize my stress levels because I'm one of those people that goes around like, I'm not stressed. And then when I really think about it or look at my Aura scores, I'm like, actually, there's a lot of room for improvement here. So it's helpful
Mhm.
for me, but you said something about putting it on airplane mode. Can you talk about that? Is that an option?
Yeah, definitely. Again, what I just mentioned about electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs,
Yeah.
Bluetooth, like this isn't hocus pocus. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff. If you look at a live blood cell analysis of someone who's been outside grounding, look at their blood, their red blood cells are bumping off one another. Good electromagnetics,
Rachel, you have
balance
to
the body.
explain I don't know that everyone knows what grounding is.
Standing outside barefoot on wet grass or wet sand.
Does it have to be wet?
Ideally wet for the
Okay.
conduction, but when
Okay.
you're outside, your body will offload the accumulation of positive ions from close proximity to technology, using your phone, being inside or around the wiring and Wi-Fi and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we contact the earth pulls out the excess positive ions. We get a little too positive, but not in a good way. And then we receive more negative ions from the earth. So this helps to ground our bodies so that our red blood cells can flow effectively and oxygenate our tissues as well. So there is something that I included in my paper that when we are on our phones for 5 minutes or we're wearing tech, like the Aura Ring, you can just
Yeah.
simply put it on airplane mode. And then you're not getting that Bluetooth blast the whole time you're wearing it. Just go in the app and turn it on airplane mode. And then when you want to see your stats, dock the ring on the little charge thing. And then you can see what's going on with your sleep and your readiness score and HRV and all of that. But what happens to the skin, and we see this in what's called speckle contrast photography, when we're exposed to EMFs, we get less blood flow to our skin. We can actually measure this. And signs of elevated EMF exposure can actually really impact the eyes in inflammation and oxidative stress around the eyes too, because the eyes are what we consider to be highly metabolic and highly sensitive. So it could be the air for you. It could be, you're running this incredible summit show, everything you're doing. You got the Bluetooth stuff on you. So we don't know these things until we know. So just give yourself a little bit of grace and make these little shifts when you can.
Yeah, but I love, Rachel, that you're kind of presenting all of these boxes we can check. Because what I like to tell my clients is some of the most important steps you can take is figuring out, is this a problem or not? And then you can check it off and move on to the next one. And we like to start with low hanging fruit. Taking this watch off is very low hanging fruit. That's so easy to do. And some of the other things may not be quite as easy. Like Rachel, I shared with you that our HVAC system is falling apart, literally. Like the return came off of the furnace. And so I was sharing with Rachel before we started recording that it's pulling the air in from under our crawl space, under our house, and putting it through the house. So I can imagine that that is going to be, I guess I'm a little bit more sensitive than the rest of my family, or I have my bucket is more full. There's some stuff going on here that it was kind of a wake up call, like, okay, for definitely going to get that fixed. But also, it's a kind of a wake up call to maybe I have a full bucket right now. And we started talking about some of the things that I can do to empty that bucket slowly. I want to jump into some more of those things. You had a very long list, and this goes for everyone that's dealing with whatever it is that your body, your skin is telling you, like, hello, pay attention. There's some stuff going on here.
Definitely we'll talk about the air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, food, and detoxing. I do want to mention something that's really important and a common thread I see in a lot of women like us. We're here, we're getting access to this incredible information to help our lives be better and also for our partners and our families and those we love the most. And a lot of times, women like us are a little bit more intuitive and empathic. And I also find with that comes an increased sensitivity to shifts in our environment. And what I want to say here is you're not crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Even if you are feeling and sensing these things, and others in your household are not, maybe you're kind of like the canary in the coal mine.
That's what came to my mind when you said that.
hmm And I think that this is actually an asset. This is a bit of a feminine, nurturing asset. And I believe part of the role that we as women can bring to the health of our own lives and also our legacy, right? Giving our offspring the best chance possible so their DNA doesn't get damaged, so that they don't get inflamed, so that they don't get autoimmune conditions, so that their brain can operate and do better in school and make better decisions in their relationships. And then for us to be great partners right? So there's some deeper emotional things. So when it comes down to making some of these shifts, like what you mentioned with the low hanging fruit, perfect. Start with the environment, do one thing at a time. So it's a little bit less of an adjustment for your household. And so you're not coming with a list of all these things you want to buy in your home, right? Presenting that to your partner, maybe the cost of it, you know, little bits.
Yeah.
Start go light, right? Like maybe let's start with getting some air purifiers
Or maybe
in
it's
every
just
room.
changing the filters on a regular basis.
Yeah, I would do every month for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So start with the air purifiers. I think that's great. We're breathing air in all the time. So in your office, in your bedrooms, in your main living space, really great for cooking. You might actually start to notice that you get a better sleep score, even just from doing something like that,
Yeah.
purifying the air around you. And that's why washing our face and showering and bathing is so important so that we're washing off the energy of the day, but also maybe even particulates in the air like pollution, heavy metals, mold that actually can tell your keratinocyte stem cells on your skin to die faster. So that's why washing your face actually in the AM and PM is so important.
Yeah, and I've started watching it twice at night.
Good.
Because you told me this, like, the first time you wash it, you're kind of removing some, but there's still some stuff maybe that's clinging on, and I've started to wash it a second time at night. I don't do it twice in the morning, but I feel like I accumulate all the kind of the crap during the day, like the stuff you wanna kinda wash off and let go down the drain, and I
Totally.
feel like okay, aside from the eye thing that I'm dealing with, I feel like my skin is just happier.
Good.
Oh,
Yeah, the double cleanse in the PM is something I love to suggest because the first cleanse is taking off like your makeup and your
yep.
creams and serums and stuff like that. And then the second cleanse is actually washing your skin.
Love that. Okay. We're on this roll of beautiful things that we can do to change our environment, to enhance our health. What is next on that list?
I think this is a perfect time to talk about water because we're
Okay.
talking about washing our face, and here I am drinking my water. You need to purify your water. Do not drink water from the tap. Don't rely on your Brita countertop pitcher filter. Don't rely on your fridge filter. Fridge filters are notorious for mold accumulation in the tubing, by the way. So I would opt for either a countertop reverse osmosis purifier, which is couple $100, or a whole home filter that's installed near your hot water tank. And so that you're drinking purified water and bathing in it because the water gets treated with things to reduce things like bacteria and viruses, but the pipes that carry the water never get cleaned. Have you ever seen your local area, your county, your city pull up the water pipes to clean them that's underneath the roadways and sidewalks and under the homes? It doesn't happen. So these pipes, they accumulate what's called biofilms, and we don't want to drink that stuff. So that's why purifying your water super key. Even when you're at a restaurant, ask the restaurant before you drink the water that you're provided if it's filtered. More often than not, it isn't. So then that's when you would ask for, say, some sparkling or a mineral water at your table.
Yeah. I also heard that in the treatment facilities, they don't actually remove things like the estrogen, some of the byproducts from, all the prescriptions that people are on. So when you're
You said it, I didn't have to.
consuming those prescriptions and then you're peeing it out and then it's coming back in your drinking water. Ew.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
So reverse osmosis, distilled water is key. And actually, in my skincare products that I've formulated, the water, it's 6 times filtered water. And a
Wow.
lot of skincare companies actually just use tap water.
Ugh, ugh. Okay. And don't forget to change your water filters either. Like that is something that a lot of my clients are actually starting to filter their water. But then when I ask them, like, when's the last time you change your filters? I don't know. Like, you got to put that in your calendar so that you don't have to think about it. It's just going to remind you.
Yeah. The one I have on my countertop, it actually says when I need to change the filters.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. Super helpful. And I
Which
have a
brand do
list
you
of
like?
I have on my website, theschoolofradiance.com. If you go to my biohacking page, it's got all my air purifiers, water purifiers, all the different things that I love to use. One thing for sleep I will mention is I used to wear the Aura Ring, and then I got the 8 Sleep, which
Uh,
helps with temperature regulation. So if you're perimenopausal or menopausal and you're getting those night sweats, the 8 Sleep is brilliant because it will keep you cooler and it will track your sleep.
and
And I'm
it's in your biohacking list, right,
yeah,
of recommendations? I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so it basically temperature optimizes your sleep and your partner's sleep and tracks your sleep. And I wore the 8 Sleep. I wore the Aura Ring and looked at my 8 Sleep metrics for probably about 6 months, and they were both aligned with what they were telling me. So it's like, oh, I don't need to wear this ring anymore. I can just rely on my 8 Sleep for sleep scores.
Okay, that's amazing. I love the temperature control part. I mean, that could potentially save some marriages as we go through the hormonal shifts. I'm just saying, not that I ever have fights with my husband about the AC level. It's a point of discussion. We don't agree on that. So this would solve that issue. And for all you ladies out there that might be having that issue, I feel you. It is a struggle. So this sounds like a good option. What else you got for us, Rachel? I'm sure there's other tips you have for especially on the sleep side.
Yeah, well, let's talk about lighting and
Okay.
circadian rhythm balancing for
Yeah.
that. You probably know to get first sun exposure in the AM when you wake up, about 30 minutes in that initial window, and then getting access to some of that sunset sunlight. We got to be inside, right? I have a really bright LED light right in front of me here. And more often than not, I'm wearing my glasses that are blue light blocking
Yeah.
glasses when I'm in the home or if I'm going to the gym a little bit later and there's, the overhead LEDs. It's actually the LED lighting reaches about 3 times deeper into the skin than the light that we get from the sun.
And it's mostly blue light, green light, right? So that's
Correct, and it's
going to be
flickering.
stimulating our
Very
circadian rhythm.
stimulating,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what I would do instead in the evening in our homes is I'm a huge fan of wearing those glasses,
Yeah.
but I also have these it's like my lightsaber.
Conquer the
It's a light
world.
stick.
So for those of you that are just listening, I have to describe this because this is amazing. Rachel actually looks like she has a lightsaber,
I
like a
know.
red lightsaber right now, but
I love
it's
these things.
it's a long, thin red light.
Mhm. So I have one in my main living space, office, bedroom. So I'll just turn those on. Or if you don't want to have a lightsaber, I think they look really cool and just create gorgeous
My
light
kids
in the
would love
evening.
that.
It's fun, right?
They'd want a lightsaber for sure. Yep.
You can also simply swap out your lamp lights for, say, the True Dark or True Light company that's on my biohacking page too, and put the different light bulbs in because it's very difficult to find overhead halogen lights now because
Yeah.
everything's transitioned to LEDs for our indoor lighting that's overhead. So the easiest biohack for that, wear blue light blocking glasses and also switch from overhead lighting in the evening to lamps with bulbs that are more amber or lightsaber sticks.
It's quite amazing, Rachel. I've shared with my audience before, I think, but I'll repeat it because I know that we have light receptors all over our skin. We think of it only in our eyes, but it's everywhere. But there's a lot in our eyes. My son and I wear the blue light blocking glasses. I can't convince the other half of my family. I'm still working on that. But half of us are wearing them, and as soon as the sun goes down, we put them on, and it is a profound difference in how we feel. And the son that wears it, he was 10, now he's 11 when we started. So he's not very descriptive in how he feels, but he's like, "Mommy, I just feel more calm." And I was like, "That's actually exactly how I feel." You feel more calm when you wear them. So even if that's the first thing you can do, maybe you can't address all the things right now, but the blue light blocking glasses are fairly inexpensive and they make a profound change. I
Yeah, and
highly
some of the
recommend.
companies, you can even get your prescription lenses in them. So they're going to have the kind of like the orange or the red tinge to the lens. The coating you get from your optometrist isn't adequate enough, just an FYI.
I just learned that. I was so
Mhm.
disappointed. It's like 10%. It blocks maybe 5 to 10%, I think they said.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I think is really great to talk about, and I see so many women kind of struggling with this, they feel like they're on their own health journey in their home. around their loved ones. It is not your job to convince anybody of anything. Everyone's on their own journey. People will notice your results. So simply leading by example. Be like, Mom, you're doing really good. It's like you're more fun now. You look really good. Like, what are you doing? Your friends are gonna say this, your partner's gonna say this, your colleagues are gonna say this. They'll start to ask you by you simply stepping into your queen leadership position and having this incredible health knowledge at your fingertips, which actually give off little lightning bolts. There's photon emission from our lightning bolts that I have the BioWell that actually measures this,
That is
which
so cool.
then extrapolates an image of our human biofield. Pretty cool
Oh my
stuff.
god.
But simply be the example. And then people will start to say, oh, what are you doing? You don't want to give them the air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, eat the right foods, then detox all these things. I call this the biohacking fire hose. Get off the soapbox. If people ask you, share one thing.
Yeah. Share what you think is the biggest needle mover for you. Maybe they can start with that. I love that.
Yeah,
So back
exactly.
to the fire hose. Hey there! I am so excited to announce that I am now an AG1 ambassador, and I wanted to share with you why I'm so passionate about helping more people take ownership of their health. So AG1 Next Gen has actually become a key part of my daily routine for the last few years now. Every morning, I start my day with a scoop of AG1 Next Gen, which is a clinically studied daily health drink that combines a multivitamin, a probiotic, and a blend of superfoods all into one easy scoop. It is packed with over 75 high-quality ingredients that have been clinically shown to improve gut health and close common nutrient gaps. Personally, some of the biggest benefits I've experienced are improved digestion and reduced bloating, and I've also noticed that I have fewer cravings, and I love knowing that it's supporting my gut microbiome. I've benefited so much from my health journey, and I just want to pass those benefits on with an exclusive sign-up offer from AG1 Next Gen. This is actually only available through ambassadors like myself, and it's one of the best deals you can get. With your first subscription order as a new customer, you'll get a free 1-year supply of D3K2 drops, 10 free AG1 Next Gen travel packs, which are super convenient to just throw in your luggage, and a free 30-day supply of omega-3 pills. I've really enjoyed how easy it is to make AG1 Next Gen part of my daily routine, and I think you will too. If you're ready to start getting more out of your mornings and simplify your health routine, check out my customer ambassador link below in the show notes, and make sure you subscribe through that link to receive my exclusive deal. Also, by the way, feel free to reach out if you have any questions about my experience with AG1 Next Gen. Let's take ownership of our health together. And now back to the show.
Well, this episode here, this segment here, is the fire hose distilled down, and
Yeah.
then just take one positive step in the right direction and to create shifts in your daily routines and lives. So we've covered air, we've covered water, we've covered lighting. Now we briefly covered electromagnetics actually, but the electromagnetics, I would actually say is like the smoking of our generation
Yeah.
because of the impact on the blood and the um, decreased ability of the red blood cells to carry oxygen to our tissues and then detox through the liver and kidneys because the blood's sluggish, it's stuck together. Those red blood cells, those little donuts, are not bouncing off one another through the repulsion and the balance of the magnetic positive and negative interaction. So that's why we need to ground. So PEMF mats in the home. I have one in my kitchen nook. So when I sit down, I'm maybe doing some work at my table or eating my food, I'm actually getting that grounding in inside, which is great when it's cold out. But get outside for about 30, 45 minutes a day, barefoot, wet grass, wet sand, get that sunlight in. That's actually going to help ground too, naturally, and that's totally free.
Yeah, I love that most of the things you're suggesting are actually free.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the red light therapy or changing your light bulbs might be a slight cost, but going outside and grounding, getting the natural sunlight when you can, those things are free. Drinking more water, like even I would say, Rachel, even if people can't filter with a reverse osmosis, most people aren't even drinking enough water to help
Mhm,
the detox pathways.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, ladies, we want to be having about 2 to 2.5 liters a day. And if you're exercising, obviously more, adding in really high quality salt so that you're getting those key electrolytes and minerals. That's why I love magnesium before bed. And zinc is really great. And then really good high quality pink Himalayan salt, or not Himalayan, but there's a great source of pink salt that comes from Utah mines.
Redmond's salt? Yeah.
Love
I
red
start
bean
I
salt.
start my morning with that. I have while my water's heating for my coffee, because I do drink coffee, everyone. I pour myself a glass with a little bit of salt in it, the Redmond salt, mix a little bit of warm water, and then I top it off with a little cool water, so it's, like, very room temperature, slightly warm, and I have 16 ounces of that first thing in the morning, and it sets me up for success the rest of the day. My cells love it. They just soak that up, and they're like, "Thank you." Yeah.
The electrolytes are super key. One of the things that I do before working out, because I work out almost every day and I lift heavy, my body composition is on point. It's been my mission for the last 8 months to literally put on as much muscle mass as I can. So, hence the creatine
Ooh, I love that.
on my desk here. But I'll do like a teaspoon of baking soda, some of the Redmond salt, and some room temperature water, and I'll put that back in a little bit of water. And it just helps keep the body alkaline. And I find I can work out really well and I have good energy and recovery with that. That's just something that I do. It's something I've been trialing for the last month or so and feel like it's actually a really good pre workout. And that's pretty cheap instead of like buying something.
Yeah, I love that. So what else? We've covered so many bases. I'm trying to think, what did we miss here in the fire hose of what we can do?
You know, right? We talked about air, water, lighting, electromagnetics. You can't get away from electromagnetics. One thing I do want to touch on that I did really fun. It's funny. This is hilarious. Okay. So here I am in my home. I just ordered myself this a couple of years ago. I ordered myself some EMF protective clothing.
Oh, that's a thing?
It's a thing.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's got silver threads in it that are woven in such a way that it helps to basically shield your body from the EMF fields around you. So I wore a beanie, long sleeve shirt, and some underwear from the Lambs company, actually. That night, I had 100 sleep score on both my 8 sleep and my Aura ring. And I
No,
never had a 100 sleep score before.
I've never had 100.
I get hundreds actually relatively frequently, like mid 90s and up.
Yeah.
If I'm in the 80, oh gosh, I feel it. But it's actually what I found from that, because as a biohacker, you're your own guinea pig. Anything you're doing, you should be impacting your sleep. So it's like, wow, okay. Wearing EMF protective clothing gave my body a break from the fields around me, even just the wiring in your home. It gave my body a break so that I could actually sleep better and had a noticeable, measurable, quantifiable sleep score impact. And now you can do bedding. You can get sheets that are of this material from another company on my biohacking page, No Choice. So you can get a bottom sheet, you can get a top sheet, so that basically when you're sleeping, your whole body is in like a Faraday cage.
Wow.
So you're getting shielded while you sleep,
That's amazing that you had that result.
you know?
And I
Because I
love
have to try this stuff out before I talk about it, right? Just
I
from
know. Well,
integrity.
it's so gratifying too when you're trying these things that you're like, I don't know, but then you have some data that shows you, like the Oura ring, for example, or the 8 sleep. It's showing you, no, 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 your body actually is experiencing this drastic benefit.
hmm
So, wow.
I'd come
Oh,
across a website when I first started to get really interested in wireless cellular radiation and the impacts of EMFs on the body, because we were getting, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. It's like,
right.
what the heck's next, right? And I was just doing some investigation on some big regulatory bodies. And we all know this body. It starts with a W, ends with an O. It's 3-letter word. I went on the website and just looked up electromagnetics, and there was a page, and I can still see it in my mind, that it was estimated, and they had this on their website, and I clearly remember this. It's not there anymore though, because I went to check a couple of years later. That it was estimated about 15% of the global population is considered hypersensitive to electromagnetic frequencies.
Wow.
And what I also found in my research was more full this oxidative stress status bucket is, the more sensitive someone can become to EMFs. And I did publish that piece of information in my paper, which is why I can speak to this stuff. So that's interesting too.
That's like 1 in 6 people.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
I think that is a very interesting topic that we could dive deep on another podcast because I'm just thinking about all the kids that are struggling with all I won't even name all the issues, but
hmm
wow.
Yeah, we
Okay.
want our blood flow to be happening. We want our nervous systems to be regulated. And an easy thing is really balancing that
Yes.
positive and negative charge in your body so that your hormones can be created. You can get the natural release of peptides. All these things are impacted by what's happening inside from the oxidative stress status or level of inflammation. And when we can knock down inflammation, to empty that bucket with all of these things I've just talked about, you're going to feel you should see the benefit in your sleep if it works for you. And then after that is food.
I
So,
was waiting for that. I was like, "We're gonna talk about food, right?"
yeah, I did a post on my social media. So if you go to at Rachel Varga official
Okay.
on Instagram, you'll find my Instagram there. I share some fun stuff. I just, keep you motivated to stay on track. And I did a post on what to put in your grocery store bag for clear skin.
Oh, I love that.
So this is the image of
Oh, it's
that.
a visual too. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
I'm on board.
visual. And I have things like steak, Greek yogurt, eggs, avocado, blueberries, turmeric. But I want
And
to do a little bit of a disclaimer here. I think that those are pretty good for almost everybody. But based on your DNA and your expression of your DNA, which is epigenetics, I would much rather you test instead of guess what you eat so that you're fueling your body with foods that your body can actually utilize. We call this bioavailability, and we can determine what foods are great for us through these, $300 test kits now. It's a stool sample that you can take from home. And then it gives you a list of the foods that are going to be good for you, and then retest in 6 months and see if those food sensitivities or recommendations have shifted, because they can, based on how the inner landscape of your gut has adjusted. Focusing on, I would say, 2 to 2.5 liters of water a day, purified, add the salt, add those minerals, really great. And then protein. 1 gram of protein to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight a day. This
half the people were
transformed
like, "What?"
this totally transformed my physique.
Yeah.
Once I started to go more quote unquote carnivore, I'm not true carnivore, but I have a lot of animal products in my day. And to get that 40 to 70 grams of protein per meal, you have to literally eat like a gym bro.
I have to say, like, for my experience with most women, especially midlife and beyond, is you say that number and there's like a fear or resistance. And my advice to these women is start where you're at and then slowly increase because you'll start to realize that all of a sudden you'll be at 100 grams and be like, okay, I can do this. And then you'll be at 110, then 120. It's meeting yourself where you're at. If I told someone to go from 60 to 140 or 150, they'd basically walk away and laugh at me. Like, that's impossible. So it's totally possible. And what Rachel's saying is actually something that most of us probably would benefit from and feel amazing. Not everyone, because everyone's biologically unique. We are biologically individuals, but most people do feel better on more protein. And if you haven't tried it, how do you know?
Don't knock it till you try it. So
Exactly.
you've been on my show before, the School of Radiance podcast, and my mom listens to my show. And my mom is 71 now. And she's been increasing her protein intake. And when I sit down and have meals with my mom and dad and my sister and the families around, she's like, yeah, it's like my body just wants protein. Like I don't really want a lot of carbs. Now, carbs has a place, especially when you're lifting really heavy. We still need those carbs, which I love rice for. I love honey. I love dates. Those are my favorite carb sources all day, every day. Um, but when you start to consume more protein, you might just start to feel better than you thought you could feel. And then every time you look at food, you're like, oh, how much protein is in this? Oh, this is not enough protein. I need more protein. You go out for dinner, you go back home and you have a cup of cottage cheese or a cup of Greek yogurt to get that protein up because you know you didn't have as much at dinner. That excess weight just seems to fall off when
Yeah.
most of your caloric intake is from protein as opposed to low quality carbohydrates, processed foods, greens. I actually don't have a lot of greens, but I do have a lot of fresh herbs that are grown in my garden. So I'm still getting all of that, really potent life force energy from herbs because those plants are very robust. And anyone in TCM will validate that. But it's funny when you shift your foods to see and almost scan like how much protein is in this meal. Is it all carbohydrates? Is it all vegetables? Because it's the protein that satiates you. It's elevating that protein for more energy. It's seeing the changes in your body composition. It's sensing what your body actually wants you to give it. It's really funny this shift that happens when you go high protein. It's like you can't go back.
I agree, and I'm still trying to understand that. I mentioned this before, I think there's, like, a fear behind it of I don't even know what it is, I'm still processing this and figuring this out.
I think it's related to cholesterol. So
It
to
could be
make
that,
I think that's what it
but
is.
I also Rachel, I think it's also, like, women don't wanna feel like they're gonna be big, which is the opposite of what happens, but I do
Mhm.
feel like there's a sense of, like, "Oh, bro in the gym eats a lot of protein, I don't wanna look like that." But I think both of that and what you just said could be a big part of it.
I think so too. I mean, I thought this as well, right? We've heard over the years, oh, don't have too much red meat or steak because it's bad for your cholesterol. Don't have too many eggs, don't cook with butter. Hello, I start to eat 4 eggs for my breakfast, have a ton of red meat, ground beef, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, salmon as my main protein sources. I go and do my blood work. My doctor calls me back because my labs were so good. He says your LDLs, which is the cholesterol we don't want, were really low, but my HDLs were a little bit elevated. So he wanted to call me about that. But the HDLs are the healthy cholesterol, and we need cholesterol to make hormones. From a biochemistry perspective, it's the cholesterol that is the precursor that we need to ingest to make hormones, these essential amino acids, these branched chain amino acids that we need to make hormones. We also need that protein to make our collagen and elastin in our skin and our muscles. It allows us to be satiated. So the flip side of that is, oh, if I lift heavy, I'll get bulky. I look way better now with an additional 15, 20 pounds of muscle than I did even just a year ago. I looked like a waif. I was in 2 car crashes. I
Right.
couldn't work out and lift weights for about 4 years. I was like, enough is enough. If I keep on this track, I'm going to be 80 and I'm going to fall and break my hip and my bones are going to be brittle. Now I'm at the gym and I have more muscle. My metabolism's higher. I feel better. I have more energy. My skin looks way better because in the process of actually working out, we're getting these little surges of cortisol. But when you do box breathing during your workout, during your daily activity, 4 seconds in for breathing in. So breathe in, hold for 4, release for 4. Do that 4 or 5 times. That's going to drop you down into your parasympathetic state. So even between sets, I'll do this. If I get some stressful news with work or family, I'll do this. So those cortisol spikes during the day gives fuel to your brain and your muscles. Having that intentional parasympathetic state recalibration, rebalancing, grounding, that brings the cortisol back down so that you don't have that elevated cortisol throughout the day.
I love that. It's so simple, yet so effective. I Rachel, you have given us so many things. I mean, I wish we were coming up on an hour. I wish I could have you for another hour and dive deep on all this stuff. But I know that people will have the opportunity if they go visit your website, you on social. So just remind us again, where can we get more Rachel?
Oh, thanks. TheSchoolofRadiance.com. I have a free 30-minute biohacking video that you can watch. You can find all my skincare there. You can book a one-on-one. You can join my tutorials where I teach you how to use your products. And of course, the School of Radiance podcast, which you've been on a couple of times. That's free stuff. Instagram at Rachel Varga Official, and of course on Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch interviews like this. But the podcast, I do some solo content that's just audio where I go a little bit deeper. So actually tuning into the podcast if you're a listener is great. And I record it in a way to keep you out of that high cortisol state, which most speakers in the health and wellness state are coming at you like a fire hose, keeping you in that high beta cortisol, totally counterproductive. So you could actually drift off to sleep while you listen to my voice in my show.
I love that.
So that's where to find me. For you, I do recommend pretty much everybody book a one-on-one with me, and I'll go through what you're doing in your daily life right now and what can be shifted in your environment, and also get into specific skincare and rejuvenation recommendations with ongoing support that's at no extra cost. When you use the promo code Leah Vashani, that's going to get you 15% off of a one-on-one. So definitely book a one-on-one because those calls are 90 minutes. They're worth its weight in gold, going to save you a ton of time and money with the skin and rejuvenation and biohacking stuff. And there's one last thing. One last thing is the detox.
Yeah.
And the detoxification component for you, Leah, right now is not what I would suggest because you're having the overt signs of oxidative stress and inflammation. Something's going on, right? The redness, puffiness to the eyes. So for you, Leah, what I would do is if I were you, I would chock or block my body with antioxidants, right? And then while you have the antioxidants in your system and you're also reducing your exposure to things in air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, being super dialed in with your foods, then potentially look at doing some sauning. Because if you were to say do some sauning right now, you could get what's called Herxheimer's, where the toxic bucket's already super full. You go and try and detox, and then all this stuff is going through your system. It can be too much. So it's like also for parasite cleansing, you want to do the foundational cleaning house first of everything we talked about today before doing a parasite cleanse. Because you kill off those parasites, you get so many things. The toxins stored in the parasites, they go throughout the body as they die off, and that can lead to Herxheimer's too. And Herxheimer's actually looks like similar to what you're experiencing. I had it once. It was terrible. I was in pain, flat out in bed for like 2 days. So reduce oxidative stress, keep up with your antioxidants, which is why I love the carbon 60 serum I've created, and then look at detoxing. But detoxing is super key. And then also detoxing those negative emotional states. So staying in a peaceful, positive, patty state. Radiance, beauty, they're all hand in hand. They all go hand in hand with peace, with slowing down, with having healthy rhythms. So my intention for everyone here today, listening to this segment and piece here, is to just, have peace about what you're doing and be at peace with you're making one step in the right direction. And every day you're making good decisions to care for yourself and out of integrity.
What I love about you, Rachel, is that you bring everything together. You have the action steps, the tips to do the lifestyle changes, but then you also recognize, like, not everyone does this. You recognize that there's a spiritual side of this as well, and it's so important. So you truly embody holistic health. And I encourage anyone and everyone to go connect with Rachel. She has so much to offer, and it really, truly was a huge pleasure to have you here today. So I can't thank you enough, Rachel.
Thanks, Leah.
Hey, lovely listeners. Before we go, remember, this is just the beginning of our journey together. If you're excited to explore more about hormones, weight loss, and stepping into your power, check out leahvachani.com to see how you can join me in thriving through menopause. And don't forget to stay connected with me on Instagram at Leah Vachani for daily doses of laughs, inspiration, and insights. Until next time, stay fierce and fabulous and keep owning your journey wherever you are in the world.